First place, man. We can't be tied for it. Sup, my dudes? This is my new custom track, Northern Lights. Now, whenever I first started thinking about this whole design around this track, I actually thought I had a pretty unique thing going here. I actually thought that there had never been a Northern Lights style track ever made in any motocross game before, and I was talking to some dudes in Discord, and I was like, hey, have any guys ever seen a Northern Lights track in a motocross video game before? And like 4 out of the 5 guys was like, no, I don't think I've ever seen that before. And then one of the guys was like, oh yeah, you remember that one track way back in the day, like 10,000 years ago in MX vs. ATV Unleashed? And I was like, oh shit, dog. Like all of a sudden it came back to me, that way old school track. Some of you guys that have played that game, that's like a free ride style. I think there's like a couple motocross tracks within it as well, but it's way back in one of those really old school MX vs. ATV games. And once he said that to me, I actually remembered that old school track way back in the day after I'd already had my design totally figured out and everything. And I was like, God dang it, I thought I had something really unique going here. But yeah, the whole Northern Lights thing actually has been made before in a motocross game, but I'd actually remembered playing on that old school MX vs. ATV track way back in the day, but I thought it was just just a standard nighttime winter vibe track. I didn't even actually remember that it actually had the Northern Lights in the background of it as well. So, yeah, after somebody reminded me of it, then I went back and realized that it actually was, but I've never seen anything like this for MX Simulator. That's for sure. This is the first big Northern Lights style track for MX Simulator. So yeah, it's still somewhat a unique design in that sort of sense because we haven't really seen tracks like this in a long time in any sort of motocross game out there. So yeah, basically this track is just a fun track, okay? So don't try to look at it as anything more than that, because that's all I was trying to make it, right? So don't get real mad at the sections or think, oh, why did he make this like that, or why did he do this like that, or whatever, right? Like, you gotta realize the only goal to this track right here was trying to make it fun. That's it. There's literally nothing else to the track at all. There's no sort of cohesiveness or parameters I was trying to go with to try to make the track a certain way or whatever. I wasn't trying to make any kind of, it's not like a motocross track or a supercross track. I don't even know what the hell this track is. It's got a very old school Spencer Turley track design vibe to it. I don't even know how to explain it, man. If any of you guys remember my old school, Venus motocross track and my old school Frozen Land track and some of those really early on stage Spencer Turley tracks, that's what this track kind of gives you the feeling of. It's like a bit of a reminiscing back to the old times. And I was kind of going backwards here to show you how to get across this section. So this track can be quite confusing to get around if you don't really know what you're doing. It can definitely be a little confusing because there's a spot where you go backwards on the track and stuff. So I want to try to go in here and explain it from the very get-go. Just hang on just a second. I'll get up here and kind of explain that, where you're supposed to go on the track and all that. But basically the off-track theme and everything to it was just such an epic feeling. I felt like, dude, I've got to make this on track just some epic feeling. That's all I was thinking in my head. I don't want to have just this super simplistic cookie cutter designed on track and then have this crazy cool off track biome theme to it. That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I wanted to go in here and just make something epic, something fun, something like you ain't never seen before, right? So there's a hill climb section on it. There's these little ice patch sections like this. So if you see that sort of decal anywhere, the track is going to feel more slick than any other part of the track. It's got this cool little, kind of like you're going down a ski slope style section right here. Then you come around, you jump clear over this little lake right here. You got a lake jump right there. It would not be a Spencer Turley track without a damn lake jump. So, yeah, got to put that shit in there, dog. Then you got this wide open 5th gear tapped out, 69,000 miles per hour down through here. Then you come around this awesome, just like that perfect snow bank feeling to it right there, and you hit this super smooth off jump face. Got this section right here that you ain't never seen on any track in your life before. Yeah, I don't know. I just, like, basically it's got one hill climb section on it, and then every other section on it is like something you've never seen before. It's got this giant pyramid micro whoop section. Yeah. I mean, just that was the only goal in my mind, was like, all right, I got to make this thing like something you ain't never seen before. Because I feel like the whole biome and the skybox and everything kind of gives you that feeling like, wow, dude, this is like something you ain't never seen before. So I wanted to make the on-track sort of fit that to a certain extent as well. So you got this cool, like, super big jump way up this hill right here, and then you're landing like on a flat section. Got these cool little peeked out kind of ice shard little sections on the track, little barriers. So this is where you kind of start going backwards on the track, right? You just jump right back up over that, and then you're going back down that original hill that you went on. It's actually quite simple once you realize it. This section right here is probably the most tricky section on the whole track. You got to be a little creative with how you jump back over that kind of chasm, whatever the hell you want to call it, little ice. I made a bit of a section there where if you fall down in it, like, you're screwed. You're going to crash, and I don't know if you can even get out of it. You may actually have to restart the entire race to get out of that. But that right there is technically the finish line jump, right? Then you get back on the start straight right here. So you can kind of see the layout of it. It can be a little bit confusing your first couple laps. You just kind of got to know. Just come back and watch the video, and you'll see where you're supposed to go. But, yeah, I got a couple little water sections on the track as well, which is really cool because not only is it just standard, good colored water, kind of that aqua colored water, but it also has the reflection of the northern lights on the water as well. So there's all these little things like that are going into it. There's a fog effect on the track. There's obviously the snow effect on the track. I don't know how good YouTube's really going to show that. You're just going to have to get on the track to really see, but there's a light kind of like gray, hazy fog effect. And then you got the snow in some areas and not in other areas to create a little bit of variation there. You've got a snow decal, you've got an ice decal, you've got a dirt decal, and all three of those decals can blend together in certain areas as well. So you got a lot of little different things at work here, but yeah, just this section right here, I don't know, seeing all the northern lights, you're just wide open, fifth gear, tapped out, coming around that bowl corner. There's just something so fun about that. I mean, it's just a fun track. And like this section right here where you really got to pick out which one of these things you're going to land on coming off the jump face and really trying to hit that perfectly. So much fun trying to do that. Gives you an experience like you've never gotten on any other track before. You got this crazy section right here where it's like micro whoops. It's all like, how much balls do you really have, bro? You're like, because you can go pretty quick on that section right there. I mean, like, it's pretty insane, man. You can go just about as fast as you want to go. Right? But I also just wanted to explain, if you're a beginner, don't even worry about downloading this track. I mean, let me just try to save you some time here, right? I just want to let you know this track is not for beginners. That's not what it is. I'm going to be making a lot more beginner, easy style tracks in the near future. That's what my next 2 or 3 tracks are going to be. I really want to get in there and make some more amateur, easier style tracks because I know I don't do a whole lot of that, so that's what you'll be seeing from me in the future, but that's not what this track is right here. This is more of an epic, fun, big jump, crazy kind of sections and obstacles and stuff like that. That's more so what this is right here, so I recommend, okay, doesn't mean you have to be, but I recommend you at least being on a 450 and at least having like stock gearing on it, right? You don't want to be on a 450 that's got max acceleration gearing because you may not be able to jump some of this stuff. You know, it's somewhat more of a wide open style, like fifth gear, tapped out, epic kind of filling to it. So there's a lot more faster sections on this. So you're going to want to have a little bit more of a top speed style gearing to it. You may be able to hit some of this bigger stuff like on a newer KTM 254 stroke with way more to the top end speed to it. You might be able to do that. I'm not exactly 100% sure there. So that's just something to keep in mind. But also, I just want to let you guys know I actually have my graphics turned down just about half of what I normally have them when I'm playing the game, and the only reason I have that is because I'm trying to eliminate a little bit of that weird YouTube compressing thing that it does where it like makes that weird almost like a fuzzy effect to your video whenever you've got too high resolution of a like dirt decal. It's a really weird thing that happens with like MX Simulator, and I noticed it doing it on MX bikes a little bit too. So that's why my graphics are lower here. But if you go in there and you you got your graphics like more to the upper end and you got them more to the maxed out end, it's going to look a lot better than what you're seeing in this YouTube video as far as the snow effect and the fog effect and the lighting and the ground decal, how real that actually looks. It's just going to give you a lot more of a real feel, so I just wanted to explain that, and that's the way all of my future custom tracks are going to be. When you're seeing the actual video of it, the graphics are going to be a little bit dumbed down from what they can potentially look like, just because I've got to try to work around the silly little YouTube, things that they got going on. YouTube needs to fix that, by the way. Good Lord, man. They need to make it where it doesn't cause that sort of grainy effect on certain videos. It's just so weird that it does that. But, yeah, either way, definitely a fun track. And some people are not going to like the design of this track, and I totally understand. Some people, they're going to hop on this and be like, this is the dumbest track ever. And I get it, but you got to understand, I was kind of going for like a retro Spencer Turley feel track, right, where there was just no restriction to what I was making. I'm just making something. And what you get is this very bizarre, weird-feeling track, but at the same time, you get this very unique, something you've never seen before style track. So it was cool to kind of make something like my old-school Venus Motocross, Frozen Land, Frozen Trail, some of those old, like, epic-style tracks I used to make back in the day. This has that feeling to it, right? It's like, it ain't motocross, it ain't MX, it ain't SX, it's ST, dude. That's what it is. So, when it comes to this little section right here going backwards, you got to jump over this little ice chasm. I got to figure out what the hell they call that. I get all confused with some of my words, man. But yeah, so basically, the trick to it, all right, let me just explain it, because a lot of you guys are going to wreck right here going backwards. What you got to do is you got to hit it up on the left. You may even be able to do it on the right. I'm not 100% sure. And if you hit this puppy right here wide open right down the middle, you might be able to go down the middle. I just know the easiest way to do it is, see, this is almost like a bit of a trail, like enduro, like you got to kind of figure out a little special trick way to hit it. Kind of got to use your brain a little bit, right? So you've got to kind of like, you got to get right here on this left side, right? You've got to lean back because there's a little bit of a slope before you hit the very end lip jump to get up over it. So you kind of got to lean back over that, then lean back down, then lean back again to really get the pop up off of this. And you've seen how I was way too far to the right and I didn't get nowhere near enough lip. But what you got to realize is you can see the landing over there. It's actually a V shape. So if you hit it, depending on where you're hitting it in the width of it, is going to depend on how far you've got to jump. So there's a lot closer of a spot that you can land. You don't have to jump as far, which is kind of, you can see basically directly in front of my fender. So that's kind of how you're able to jump that. But if you don't hit it, then you're dead. So yeah, you want to be really careful in some sections like that. I'm going to go back to this replay here. So let me explain a couple other little sections here. So it's just really cool how right here I was able to blend together this kind of standard dirt with the snow. It just looks so good, dude, when you can put that kind of like layering decals together versus just having one decal that looks super basic. And just the way the way I kind of put some of these hills together and the northern lights in the background, it just looks so freaking good, man, when you're actually on the track. And I'm not just saying that to say that, like it really does. So right here, this is not actually the way you're supposed to go. If you're doing like you're trying to run laps on the track, I just turned around right here to try to get going down backwards like you do at the very end of the lap to try to show you how to go over this section. Just wanted to make that clear so you don't get confused here. Okay, so yeah, you see like right here, then I pop up off of it right there. You can jump it way further than that. I made it look like it was super hard. You can actually jump it a lot further. Then you come back down this hill right here. So I just thought this hill was so much fun going down backwards on and going around the backwards way on that entire section that I wanted to just bring the track all the way back around on it, and it just worked out, dude. So the finish line tabletop right here, not crazy big, probably maybe 100 foot. Then this is technically like the start straight, right? This is where you start off at. You just come around here, pretty simple on where you're going. You don't have to, pretty simple tabletop here. And you're getting all your speed. You can hit this this hill climb section right here, a plethora of different ways. Like, seriously, you can hit it up the left side, go down the middle, go down the right side. There's all different types of ways you can do it. And then this little jump right here, we jump over the chasm going the first direction. Be careful on the ice sections like this. Depending on which way you're going, like if you're going this way on the ice, it's not going to have that sleek and shine because the sun's not hitting it right, the actual lighting effect. But when you go down it backwards, it will have that sort of like almost slick look to it. So you'll be able to really tell that it's actually an ice effect. And then you just come around here, you take a little right here, make sure you go down this section between these two big things like the ski slope. And then you're making a pretty somewhat sharp left right here. You got to get on the gas early, boys. Okay, that's the whole trick to this part. And then you're just hucking right up over. Huge landing. I mean, it's really not that difficult once you learn how to get the speed going up to it. And then you just right here, okay, you don't want to go like any further left up over this berm, right? You can kind of see the berm here that you're meant to hit. You know, you're hitting this inside berm, and then that upper section over there to the left, that's what you come back around on when you hit all this other part. So don't get too far left over here, right? Don't like go plumb over the berm and then try to come back around. You want to stay in the berm there, right? And you're just going right down here, pretty simple. You can land on either one of these four sort of pillar style ice sections right here, and these are actually ice when you land on them, so be careful. And this particular spot right here is going to feel a little bit weird, especially if you hit the far right one. If you land on the far right one, it's going to be like, what, Spencer? You totally messed this section up. Like, what are you doing? No, I didn't. I built this on purpose this way. Perfect purpose this way is because I didn't want to make it the berm so far wide that you could just hit this thing like, you know, literally 100 miles an hour. I wanted to try to somewhat add a balance to it where if you hit that thing super wide, you're going to kind of hit a bit of a wall here. It's almost like a super smoothed out effect. So you're going to have to go a little bit more inside, and what that's going to do is make it to where you're going to have to slow down a little bit in this corner. So it sort of like balances out your speed a little bit, right? Or if, let's just say, you just wanted to totally slow down and just go up the inside, roll up the inside, then you're going to be going really slow. But I try to balance out the speed a little bit there so you don't get going too crazy on this section right here. Because you're picking up speed, I mean, this whole way. And just remember, if you're wrecking a lot on a section, just slow down, right? You get to this point right here, especially right on the peak end of this, where a lot of times it's better to just slow down a little bit. Sometimes you can glide over it real good. Sometimes it's a little more difficult, but sometimes you just got to slow down. Like, I mean, that's really the simple way to put it. And then you're just wide open, leaning back. You know, you're getting like this 99.99% swap without crashing right here in this section. Super fun. And then now you're going on that outside part of the berm like I showed you before, so it's kind of like a two-way type of section here. Super fun. I just can't explain the way this going around this big Talladega style berm feels, man, with the snow effect on it. It just feels so like realistic. And then you come back around, you're just wide open. You want to make sure you hit this thing pretty hard. This is another area where if you hit it further to the right, that actual ledge right there comes out a lot further to you, so you don't have to jump as far. So there's all different kinds of little like width angle tricks on some of these bigger jumps where you can not have to jump as far, basically. Even the jump over the lake there, it's a little bit angled. If you hit it far to the left on the jump face, you're not going to have to jump nowhere near as far. You understand what I'm saying? So there's all different kinds of little, you know, tricks to these lines out here, and you just got to kind of realize what you're doing. But if you got the stock gearing on a 450 and you're wide open and you don't lose any momentum, you're going to be over jumping most of this stuff by a little bit. You know, it gives you a little bit of room for error, like spin out just a little bit or lose just a little bit of your RPMs, and you're still going to be able to jump something. Like, you could still jump most of this stuff with like a little bit more towards the acceleration on your gearing, not like perfect stock. You could jump some of this stuff with more acceleration, especially if you're on like a you know, Husqvarna, newer Husqvarna, because that's more longer linear geared anyways. So yeah, you just kind of got to play around with it. But once you learn some of these bigger jumps and how hard you got to hit them, you know what you got to have to do it. See now you're seeing more of that slick on the ice effect, and it looks like trash. The actual graphics setting, I have to have it for YouTube, but when you get your graphics turned up, that it looks really, really good, man. So yeah, and I just couldn't, I couldn't go without having you experience where that ice actually looks slick like that, where the lighting's hitting it perfectly. That's one of the bigger reasons why I brought this track right back around this area, and trying to limit the amount of track I actually had to have. So just trying to not make the track lag, trying to kind of restrict everything down a little bit. So yeah, man, it's a heck of a track. It's kind of, you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. Just kind of the way it is. But I just wanted to let you guys know that the next few tracks I'm gonna make are gonna be a little bit more standard, a little more easy, a little more simplistic. And I plan on going back in here with this vibe and making more standard, like a standard motocross only track on this sort of vibe of a track. I do plan on doing that in the future, but this couldn't be anything other than Spencer Turley epic on track with the way the off track was. Like, I had to do it. You gotta understand, like, I had to do this. There's no other way for me to do it. I couldn't go in there and make a JGMX style track with this sort of off track. That would have been weird. Like, and this is about as far as you can get away from a JGMX style track right here. So it is what it is. It's like a kind of a, it's got a couple motocross style tabletops, got some hill climb, almost like trail style sections to it, got some bigger, super weird Spencer Turley sections, all those kind of things sort of just thrown into one track, and that's what you got here. So it's just a fun track, man. Just have fun on it. Don't worry too much about trying to run some lap time or trying to, oh, this corner sucks because it's built weird. Like, don't worry so much about that, dude. It's just it's just for fun. You know what I'm saying? Just enjoy the scenery around you. Enjoy how epic it can feel on some of these sections, hitting stuff wide open. That corner right there is so much fun. Try to hit fifth gear all the way around the corner with never letting off, because you can do it, but it's like right where it's got that balance of you almost slide out when you're doing it, so there's a skill to it. So I kind of try to create that there as well. But either way, man, track link down below as always. Appreciate all the support. I'm gonna keep on doing it, man. Yeah, I was just sitting there. I made my 10,000 subscriber video, and I was like, I had this track, the whole biome and everything around it made, and then I was like, dude, I've got to do something. Like, I started thinking about everything I was saying in that 10,000 subscriber video, and I was like, screw it, dude. I'm going to go in here and make this thing. I'm going to go in here and finish this thing, and this is what we got. So, yeah, dude, just don't forget, if you want to go add me up on Snapchat, go add me on Steam, follow me on Instagram. All of my stuff like that is just Spencer Turley, no space, no capital. So it's really simple. Everything's the exact same name. It's just like my YouTube channel name without the capital letters, the capital S and T and the space between. It's just Spencer Turley, no space, no capital. And that's my Xbox Live. That's my PlayStation Network. It's everything, dude. Literally every single thing that I have. So, yeah, man, yeah, if you want to go check out all my other custom tracks that I do have a playlist for that on my front page. It's just called My Custom Track. It's literally the first playlist on there. I think I'm up to like 64, 65 custom tracks, something like that. And, yeah, I'm going to keep on doing these crazy designs, man. It's endless what you can do with it, right? People think, well, we've just about made everything that you can make. And they ain't got a clue, bro. They ain't got a clue what's running in the back of my mind right now. Like, we ain't even broke the ice, right? We ain't even remotely stepped in the realm of possibility with motocross tracks. People don't get it, man. Some of these track makers out here, like, they don't understand it. Crap, I meant to have all this in third person. My bad, boys. I was talking there. I meant to have some of this in third person. Whoops. Well, either way, yeah, sorry for the little double first person gameplay there. Apologize for that. Kind of got caught up in what I was saying, but yeah, either way, there's just so many different ways you can hit that right there. But man, it's just endless what you can make. It really is. People don't get it, but just some of the skybox is so freaking good. It really is. It is the perfect Northern Lights style skybox to it. But when you add the snow effect and the fog effect, it just brings the whole track around, and the right kind of snow decals just makes it feel like something completely different than you've ever experienced in this game before. So, yeah, man, just hope you guys enjoy it. Don't have too much fun over that lake jump, man. It's probably only like 100 foot, 120, maybe 150. It ain't that big of a jump. These bigger jumps really ain't that big. You just got to be on it. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be on the throttle, and you'll be all right. So either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.